Over the summer, I did a video defending She-Ra and the Princesses of Power before it came out. Basically, at the time, there was 4 screen caps, and the show was getting a lot of hate because people didn't like the redesigns of the show. Now that it's been released and Season 2 is coming out, I wanted to make a newer, more informed video on the topic. The biggest criticisms of the show seem to hinge on the character designs over anything else. However, I've also seen people saying that it has lazy writing. After watching the show, I can say that I enjoyed it, but I wanted to talk about how many of the criticisms the show is getting don't really make a lot of sense. A lot of the people criticizing the show are not very informed on the show at all, or on writing or character design. I'm not saying that anyone has to be a show creator to criticize the show. However, if you want to give an informed critique, it helps if you know what you're talking about. Anyone can tell the chef the food is bad, but they might not be able to say whether it was the dryness or too much cilantro in the seasoning that made it bad. Personally, I've never created a show, but I'm a cartoonist and an animator. I can usually see why a design is the way it is and whether it makes sense or not. I do want to say the one criticism I can understand and see, and that is the animation of the show. It's low budget and the animation certainly isn't the best. However, that's not really the fault of anyone working on the show that they don't have enough money. Personally, I'd rather a show that put the budget into writing than animation, and I think that's what happened here. This is also Season 1, and animation does tend to improve as seasons progress. And yes, the original She-Ra's animation was so great, right?
My home, my family. No, Telji, Mally.
I'll talk about the writing in a moment, but first, let's talk about the character designs. The one that almost everyone has heard is, She-Ra looks like a man! Well, hello there, hi, let's take a look at female anatomy for a moment. I went ahead and traced over She-Ra's body, and this is what it looks like. Now, let's use a female body reference here. So what I did was I went ahead and traced over a female body reference like this over the image. So this is a breakdown of the female body shape. So as you can see, the drawing doesn't exactly match up with it, but it comes pretty close. In fact, the orange squares on the neck right there actually are a little bit bigger here than they are there, and that's actually an even more feminine trait. So, as you can see, her shoulders are kind of broad, however, most of that comes down to her having a slim neck in comparison. If her neck was more of a natural, realistic shaped neck, she wouldn't have as broad of shoulders. So her shoulders are actually about normal length. If we look at her torso shapes, we can actually see that the shape outlined in yellow here is actually a bit small, and we see how far that her waist goes in, and that's actually a exaggerated feminine trait. And if we want to, I just did this for fun. To even further prove my point, I went and used the same male anatomy reference and traced over it with that. And as we can see, it doesn't work. The neck and the orange parts is even bigger, and it doesn't work here because if I trace over it using that part, you can see how slim her neck is when it should be like the green lines are, and if she were to have a male type body. So, as we can see, this is my biggest point here, is that you can see literally right here that a male waist is straight for the most part. It dips a little bit in right there, but it's mostly straight. And as we can see, her waist is most certainly not straight. It curves in, you know, like a female waist does. Crazy, right? It's almost as if she's a female. I never would have guessed this, guys. This is crazy. Oh my god, what the hell? So, yeah, and if we want to go even more depth, we can actually compare her body to an actual guy in the show of the same age, Bo. As you can see, he has much broader shoulders and a straight waist. You know, like a male body! Also, She-Ra is 8 feet tall, just keep that in mind. So as you can see, her body is not a male body. I'm seriously not understanding why people think this, other than them not knowing what a male body looks like. The only thing that would support this would be her flat chest, but as we've seen in the show, Adora doesn't have a flat chest. This would lead us to infer that She-Ra is probably wearing a breastplate that does not outline her body shape like a shirt does, because that's not what breastplates are supposed to do. They're rigid and flat. She-Ra's body looks more like an athletic female body. Now, when you compare the new She-Ra's design to the old one does look significantly more feminine. However, that's because her feminine features are even more exaggerated than the new one. She has a tiny Barbie doll-like waist, and the visible muscle on her body is slim to none. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense for a warrior princess, you know? Now, the original has much more obvious breasts, but that brings me to the practicality of her outfit. Original She-Ra's design has nothing covering her chest, which is where her heart is. Think, she's fighting foes with an outfit perfect for her enemies to stab her right in the chest. The new design could also be reflecting the military button-up because of how it's styled, which would represent her upbringing. And her skirt is very short in the original, so instead of abiding by the laws of physics like her hair and cape, it just doesn't move. Animation, am I right? So if you want to avoid upskirting She-Ra, but still want to have a skirt that listens to the laws of physics, what do? You put shorts underneath it. Wow! But apparently that's too masculine. Remember girls, don't wear shorts or you're a boy. Also, Adora is a teenager in the reboot, and looks much younger than the original Adora, so I should hope that she's a bit less sexualized. The other thing I saw people complaining about were the heavier body types of Glimmer and Spinnerella. However, these are the two characters that it would actually make sense to have heavier body types in the show. Glimmer has short-range teleportation powers, and she uses them quite frequently. She probably doesn't get a lot of exercise. Spinnerella has wind powers, and she uses them to glide around. She also probably doesn't get a lot of exercise. The one complaint I could understand is how slim Spinnerella's neck is compared to the rest of her body. But that's such a minuscule thing, and Spinnerella is a very minor character. Overall, concerning the characters' designs, I don't understand how someone could think these are worse than the original. Have you seen the original characters? All of the princesses had not only the exact same bodies, but the exact same faces. Their designs tell us really nothing about them other than this one's blue, this one's pink, and this one's also pink but with yellow hair, etc. At least with the new ones we can see this one loves nature, this one comes from a cold climate, this one is probably from the ocean, etc. Now for the writing. This one really gets me. So many people, when criticizing the new show, hold the old one up to a gold standard. It may be nostalgic for you, but it's not perfect. The writing had no significant character development, a repeating plotline every episode with little variation, and no relationships were explored or anything. It was just She-Ra beats up Hordak, let's go! Now, I don't hate the original. For its time, it was pretty good, but the two shows aren't really comparable in the way the people criticizing the new show think they are. The new show has all of the story things I just mentioned the old one doesn't have. The original show was meant as a marketing device to sell toys. The writers weren't very invested in making a good storyline. The reboot, however, does do that. Noelle Stevenson clearly wanted to make a show that little girls could love and empower them, and it seems to me she poured a lot of heart and soul into this project. I also really wish people would stop bringing up Noelle Stevenson's identity into the She-Ra debate because it has nothing to do with it. I want to close off by saying I don't think the She-Ra reboot is perfect, but I think that it's being unfairly criticized by people who are blinded by nostalgia and ignorance. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Please check out my other videos if you like this one. Like, comment, let me know what you guys think about the She-Ra reboot. Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Do you agree with me or not? Let me know what your thoughts are. Anyway, that's gonna be it for this video, and I will see you guys on the flip side. Bye!